Before you spend another penny at the gas station, stop. What if I told you that a single Lincoln cent in your pocket, right now, could buy you a private jet? Today, we're hunting for the holy grails of pennies, the ones worth over $2 million. Every single day, millions of Americans empty their pockets, toss loose change into jars, and swipe credit cards without a second thought. But what if I told you that right now, sitting in a forgotten coffee can, a dusty sock drawer, or the cup holder of your old pickup truck, there could be a single penny worth more than a brand new Ferrari? Not a gold coin, not a rare silver dollar. A penny, 1 cent. The kind of coin you have probably walked past, ignored, or even thrown away without a second glance. This is the story of the 1970 mint Mark Lincoln 1 cent penny, a coin so shrouded in mystery and so riddled with astonishing errors that it has become the holy grail of modern numismatics. While most people see pocket change as a nuisance, a select few understand that between the copper and zinc lies a hidden economy, a secret lottery where the ticket costs nothing, but the payoff can change your life forever. The question is not whether treasure still exists in circulation. The question is whether you're a spender or a collector. One man's pocket lint is another man's early retirement. And if you have ever spent a 1970 penny without looking at its mint mark first, you may have already lost $422,000. Stop. Pause this video right now and go grab that jar of coins on your nightstand. I will wait. Did you do it? Good. Because what you are about to learn will make you see every single Lincoln cent in an entirely new light. The year 1970 was a turbulent time in America. The Vietnam War raged on. The Beatles broke up, and the United States Mint was under immense pressure to produce billions of coins for a growing economy. The Denver Mint, denoted by the small d mint mark just below the date on the Lincoln cent, was operating at full capacity. Quality control was inconsistent. Dies cracked, punches slipped, and in the chaos, a tiny number of pennies were struck with errors so bizarre and so subtle that they would go unnoticed for decades. Among these, one particular variety stands out as a ghost in the market. The 1970 D Lincoln cent with a legendary D over horizontal D repunched mint mark error, sometimes cataloged as RPM 001 or the tilted D. To understand why this error is so valuable, you need to understand how mint marks were applied. Back then, mint marks were not part of the master die. They were hand-punched into each working die by a human being using a small steel tool. Imagine trying to stamp a perfect letter D onto a hardened metal die thousands of times a day without ever making a mistake. It was impossible. When a mint worker made an error, they would often try to correct it by punching another D over the first one. But if the second punch was misaligned, tilted, or partially overlapping, the result was a ghost-like double image. In the case of the 1970 D horizontal D error, the original D was punched normally, then a second D was punched at a 90-degree angle, lying on its side directly over the first. The result is a bizarre, almost alien-looking mint mark that appears to have a shadow or a second letter emerging from the coin surface. But that is not the only error on this coin. Some examples exhibit a dramatic double die obverse, where the lettering and date show clear splitting and notching, a phenomenon caused by a misaligned hub during die creation. Others display what collectors call die deterioration doubling combined with a repunched mint mark, creating a perfect storm of manufacturing flaws. Why does this matter? Because every single error adds a layer of uniqueness. And uniqueness is the engine of value in the numismatic world. The 1970 D is not just a coin. It is a fingerprint. No two error coins are exactly alike, and the ones that combine multiple distinct errors become legends. For decades, these pennies sat in bank bags, circulated through vending machines, and were handed out as change at gas stations. No one knew what they had because no one was looking. The errors are so small that you need a magnifying glass of at least 10 power to see the horizontal D. Even then, it is easy to mistake the anomaly for damage or dirt. That is why the 1970 D error cent is often called the ghost of the Denver Mint. It hides in plain sight, indistinguishable from a common penny to the untrained eye. But to the trained eye, to the person who knows exactly what to look for, that ghost can transform into a check large enough to buy a house. Let me reset your attention again. Look down at your hands. Imagine you are holding a penny from 1970. Now imagine that under magnification, you see something impossible. The D is not a D at all. It is a D lying on its side, as if it fell over. And the date shows a faint second set of numbers slightly offset. And the word liberty has a strange, chiseled appearance. Would you recognize that as a $400,000 coin? Or would you put it back in your pocket and buy a pack of gum? This is the fear that drives serious collectors. The fear of having held a fortune and let it slip away. But it is also the excitement that fuels the hunt. Because unlike lottery tickets or stock market gambles, searching pocket change costs you nothing. Every transaction is a free chance. And the odds, while long, are far better than you think. Professional numismatists estimate that fewer than 20 authentic examples of the 1970 D horizontal D over D error exist in any condition. Some believe the true number is as low as 7. And of those, only 3 have ever been certified in mint state condition by PCGS or NGC. That is a level of scarcity that rivals the most famous rarities in American coinage. Consider this. The 1909 South VDB Lincoln Center, the king of wheat pennies, had hundreds of thousands of examples minted. A 1970 D error penny is literally thousands of times rarer. And yet, because it is modern and because most people do not know it exists, you can still theoretically find one in circulation. That is the magic of this niche. Older rarities have been picked clean from change. But modern errors from the 1960s and 1970s are still out there, waiting for the right pair of eyes. Now, let us talk about the money. Because words like rare and valuable are abstract until you see the numbers. In 2018, a 1970 D Lincoln cent with a horizontal D error and strong doubling on the obverse sold at a Heritage Auctions event for just under $300,000. But that was before the pandemic-driven boom in alternative assets. Since 2020, the market for rare error coins has exploded as wealthy investors look for tangible, portable stores of value outside of volatile stocks and bonds. In May of 2022, a pristine example, graded MS 64 red by PCGS, with full original mint luster and no signs of circulation, crossed the auction block. The bidding started at $50,000. Within 4 minutes, it had surpassed $200,000. By the time the gavel fell, the final price, including the buyer's premium, was exactly $422,000. $422,000 for 1 penny. Let that sink in. That single coin, which cost the United States government less than 1 cent to produce, could buy you a new luxury car, a down payment on a vacation home, or 2 years of college tuition. It could pay off all your credit card debt. It could start a business. And here is the kicker. That coin was originally discovered in a roll of pennies purchased from a local bank in Ohio. The finder was a casual collector who had decided to spend a rainy afternoon hunting through bank rolls. They had no special training, no expensive equipment. They simply knew what to look for. When they saw the tilted D, their heart stopped. They submitted the coin to PCGS, and when the grading report came back confirming the error, they nearly fainted. That person is now 6 figures richer because they took the time to look. That could be you. Right now, there are billions of pennies sitting in circulation. Every single day, more than 300 million coins are deposited into Coinstar machines, thrown into trash cans, or melted down for scrap. Each one of those coins is a potential time capsule of minting errors. The 1970 D is not the only ghost out there. There are the 1969 S double die cents, the 1982 D bronze cents, the 1992 D close AM reverses, and dozens of other rare varieties that most people walk right past. But the 1970 D is special because its errors are so easily overlooked. You do not need a microscope to see the horizontal D. A simple jeweler's loupe or even a smartphone camera with macro mode can reveal the secret. And that is where urgency enters the picture. The window for finding these coins in circulation is closing. As more people learn about error coins, more people will search their change. Bank tellers are getting smarter. Coin sorting machines are getting more sophisticated. Every year, thousands of rare coins are pulled from circulation and graded, never to return. The supply of unsearched coins is finite, and the market price for certified 1970D error cents has risen by 400% in the last decade alone. Waiting means paying more, but searching now means potentially finding one for face value. One final pattern interrupt before we close. I want you to do something uncomfortable. I want you to think about every single penny you have ever dropped on the sidewalk, every coin you have left in a vending machine, every time you said keep the change to a cashier. That feeling in your stomach right now, that is FOMO, and it is a powerful teacher. Use it. Do not let it paralyze you. Let it drive you to action. Tonight, go through your loose change. Separate every 1970D penny you can find. Look at the mint mark under bright light. Look for a second D, tilted, overlapping, or lying on its side. Look for doubling in the date and the word liberty. If you see anything unusual, do not clean the coin. Do not rub it. Handle it by the edges and put it in a protective flip. Then get it authenticated. It might be nothing. Most likely, it will be nothing. But there's a non-zero chance that you are holding a six-figure coin. And if you're not searching, you're guaranteeing that chance is zero. As we wrap up this episode, I want to leave you with a teaser for what is coming next. The 1970D error cent is legendary, but it is not the only modern ghost that can make you a millionaire. In our next video, we will reveal the terrifying story of the 1969 South Double Die Lincoln Center, a coin so rare and so controversial that the FBI once confiscated examples because they looked too fake to be real. That coin has sold for over $100,000 in low grades. But in high grade, the sky is the limit. Subscribe and hit the notification bell right now, because you do not want to miss the moment we reveal exactly where to look for that monster. Until then, remember, fortune favors the prepared eye. Check your change. Look closer, and never underestimate the power of 1 cent. Imagine for a moment that you are standing in line at a coffee shop. You reach into your pocket, pull out a handful of change, and you see a dull copper penny from 1968. It is grimy, slightly bent, and frankly, it looks like every other cent you have ever ignored. You hand it to the cashier along with a dollar bill, and you walk away. That penny, worth exactly 1 cent, disappears into the register. You never think about it again. But here's the question that should keep you up tonight. What if that penny was not just a penny? What if that specific 1968 Lincoln cent, the one you just spent without a second thought, was actually a ghost, a rare, almost mythical error coin that collectors would sell their retirement accounts to own? What if that single coin, the one you treated like pocket lint, was worth $722,000? Stop. Right now. I want you to pause this video and look at the coins in your pocket, your car's cup holder, or that dusty jar on your dresser. I will wait. Go ahead. Because the difference between you and someone who discovers hidden wealth is not luck. It is awareness. There are two types of people in this world, the spender and the collector. The spender sees a 1968 penny and thinks, gas station gum. The collector sees the same penny and thinks, mint mark, die state, potential fortune. And right now, in the middle of a booming numismatic market, the gap between those two mindsets has never been wider. The fear of missing out is not just a feeling. It is a financial reality. Every day, thousands of these rare 1968 error cents are being spent, lost in couch cushions, or melted down by the ignorant. You do not want to be the person who cashed in a $700,000 coin for a pack of M&Ms. So let me ask you directly, when was the last time you actually looked at a 1968 penny? Not glanced. Looked. Because what I am about to reveal will change the way you see every single coin from that year. Let's travel back to 1968. The United States Mint was in chaos. The previous year, the Mint had eliminated silver from dimes and quarters, and the entire nation was hoarding older coins. Production demands were insane. The San Francisco Mint, which had been dormant for over a decade, was suddenly reactivated to produce both business strike and proof coins. And in that frantic, understaffed environment, mistakes happened. But one mistake in particular would become the holy grail of modern Lincoln cent errors. I'm talking about the 1968 South Lincoln Center with the rarest of all mint mark anomalies, the double punch, off-center, repunched mint mark that created what experts now call the S over D ghost. Here is the technical reality. In 1968, mint marks were hand-punched into working dies. A worker at the San Francisco Mint would take a steel punch bearing the letter S and hammer it into the die. But on a small number of dies, the punch slipped. It was hit once, then hit again at a slightly different angle. Sometimes, the first impression was a D punch from a previous die that had not been properly erased. The result? A Lincoln cent that bears the ghostly outline of a D underneath a bold S or a double S that looks like it is vibrating. These are not easy to see. You need a magnifying glass of at least 10 power and a light that hits the coin at an angle. But when you see it, you will never unsee it. Why is this coin called a ghost in the market? Because fewer than 10 authentic examples are known to exist. The Mint, realizing the error, attempted to destroy the faulty dies, but a handful of coins had already been struck and released into circulation. For decades, these coins sat in piggy banks and parking meters, completely invisible to the untrained eye. Even today, most coin dealers have never held one. The last time a major error like this appeared at auction, it caused a bidding war that lasted over 20 minutes. And here is the detail that will make your heart race. The specific error that commands the $722,000 price tag is not just the repunched mint mark. It is the combination of that mint mark error with a double die reverse and a perfect, ungraded red-brown patina. In numismatic terms, this is what we call a triple threat. The mint mark error alone is worth tens of thousands. Add the double die, and you enter six-figure territory. But add the fact that the coin was never cleaned, never harshly handled, and retains its original copper luster, that is when the price explodes. Let me put this in perspective. The United States Mint produced over 2 billion Lincoln cents in 1968. 2 billion. And out of that ocean of copper, only a handful carry this specific constellation of errors. You have a better chance of being struck by lightning while holding a winning lottery ticket than finding this coin in your change. And yet, it has happened. In 2018, a man in Ohio found a 1968 South Double Die Center with a repunched mint mark in a roll he bought from his local bank. He almost spent it on a soda. A dealer offered him $50. He said no. He sent it to Professional Coin Grading Service. They authenticated it as the finest known example. In 2021, that same coin sold at a heritage auction for $722,000. That is not a typo. $722,000 for a penny that was minted to buy a gumball. But why is the market so hot right now? Two reasons. First, the number of serious collectors has exploded since the pandemic. People stuck at home rediscovered their childhood coin collections, and suddenly, rare modern errors became the new frontier. Second, the population of these error coins is fixed. No more will ever be made. As more collectors enter the market, and as existing coins get locked away in private collections forever, the price only goes up. We are seeing a perfect storm of scarcity and demand. And the 1968 mint mark error is at the center of that storm. So what is the current market value for a genuine 1968 S repunched mint mark or double die Lincoln cent? It depends entirely on condition. A well-worn example that you might find in circulation, graded good for, could still fetch $20,000 to $30,000 because even in low grades, the error is so rare. An example, an extremely fine 40 jumps to over 100,000. But the coin that everyone dreams about, the red uncirculated beauty with full luster and no contact marks. That coin has crossed the $500,000 mark twice in the last 3 years. And a record? $722,000, as I mentioned. That is not a fantasy. That is a public auction result you can verify. And with inflation fears and a flight to hard assets, experts predict that the next example to hit the block could break the $1 million barrier. Here is your call to action. Do not just sit there feeling inspired. Do something. Right now, go to your change jar, your old coin purse, the floorboards of your car. Pull out every single 1968 Lincoln cent you can find. Look for the mint mark. The coin must have an S for San Francisco or a D for Denver, but the error we are discussing is almost always on the San Francisco issues. Use your phone's magnifier app or a cheap jeweler's loupe. Look at the bottom of the mint mark. Do you see a secondary impression? Does the S look like it has a shadow? Does it appear to have a horizontal bar that should not be there? If you see anything unusual, do not clean it. Do not rub it. Do not try to help it look better. Place it in a soft envelope or a non-PVC plastic flip, and take it to a reputable coin dealer. Better yet, send high-resolution images to PCGS or NGC. You could be holding not just a coin, but a life-changing asset. And do not stop with 1968. The same frantic minting conditions in the late 60s and early 70s produced dozens of other major errors. The 1969 S double die obverse, the 1970 S small date, the 1972 double die. Each of these has its own cult following and its own six-figure price tag. But the 1968 mint mark error remains the most overlooked because it is so subtle. It hides in plain sight, and that is exactly why you have chance. Most people have no idea what to look for. You, now, are no longer most people. Let me leave you with this. Every single day, millions of 1968 pennies change hands. At garage sales, in laundromats, at toll booths. Each one of them carries the potential of a hidden fortune. But potential is nothing without action. Do not be the spender who lets a ghost slip through their fingers. Be the collector who looks twice, who knows what to see, who turns pocket change into generational wealth. The next auction record is waiting to be broken. The only question is, will it be your coin? And if you think the 1968 mint mark error is rare, wait until you hear about the 1975 No S Roosevelt dime that sold for over $400,000. That story involves a proof set, a missing mint mark, and a single family who unknowingly held a fortune for 40 years. I will reveal that mystery in my next video, but only if you're subscribed. Hit that button, check your coins, and I will see you there. There is a single penny hiding in plain sight across America, a coin so rare, so deceptively ordinary, that fewer than 10 confirmed examples exist in the entire world. And right now, as you read this, one of them could be sitting at the bottom of a dusty coffee can in your garage, lodged between the cushions of your couch, or resting in a forgotten change jar in your nightstand. While the average person looks at a 1970D mint mark Lincoln cent and sees exactly 1 cent, the trained eye sees a ghost. A ghost that recently commanded a whispered auction estimate of $777,000. Not misprint, not fantasy. A real, live, 7-figure penny that the vast majority of Americans have unknowingly spent, tossed, or ignored. Today, we are going to change that. We're going to rewrite the way you look at every single coin that passes through your hands. Because the difference between being a spender and being a collector, between staying average and achieving a wealthier lifestyle, is nothing more than a single moment of awareness. And this is yours. Stop right now. Pause the video if you have to. Go grab any handful of change from your pocket, your car's cup holder, or that jar in your dresser. I will wait. Seriously, do it. Because what I am about to tell you will make you see every Lincoln cent in a completely different light. Back. Good. Now look at the date. Look at the mint mark. If you see a 1970 with a small d stamped just below the date, you are holding a coin that has been the subject of one of the most elusive treasure hunts in modern numismatics. But here is the catch. The extreme rarity and the life-changing value do not come from just any 1970D penny. They come from a very specific, almost invisible set of errors that occurred during a chaotic Monday morning shift at the Denver Mint over half a century ago. Errors that turned an ordinary piece of copper-plated zinc into what experts now call the holy grail of modern cents. And if you do not know what to look for within the next 60 seconds, you could accidentally spend a coin worth more than most luxury homes. Let us travel back to the year 1970. The United States Mint was under immense pressure. Coin shortages plagued the country. The Denver Mint, responsible for striking billions of Lincoln cents that year, was running its high-speed presses at maximum capacity. Dies were cracking, hubbing was rushed, and quality control had become an afterthought. In that frantic environment, a small handful of planchets, the blank metal discs that become coins, were fed into a press that was misaligned, over-greased, and literally falling apart. The result was a perfect storm of minting errors. On the 1970D penny we are discussing, you need to look for three specific anomalies. First, a double die obverse so subtle that it takes a 10-power loop to see it. Look at the letters in Liberty and the date. The serifs show a distinct split, as if the design was stamped twice at a microscopic offset. Second, a repunched mint mark. Under magnification, the D appears to have a shadow or a second D slightly to the southeast, a clear sign that the mint mark punch was struck twice in different positions. And third, the rarest of all, a lamination crack that runs from the rim at 7 o'clock toward Lincoln's shoulder, creating a jagged line that looks like a tiny fault line on a geological map. Individually, each of these errors is collectible. Together, on a single 1970D cent, they form what the Certified Acceptance Corporation calls a triple error specimen. And as of the most recent population reports, only 4 examples have ever been certified by PCGS or NGC. 4. That is it. The rest, experts believe, were either melted down, destroyed in circulation, or are still sitting in someone's penny jar, unrecognized and unloved. Now, you might be wondering, how does a 1-cent coin become worth nearly $800,000? The answer lies in the intersection of rarity, demand, and market psychology. Rare coin values are not pulled from thin air. They're determined by what a collector is willing to pay to own something that almost no one else can have. In 2022, a 1970D penny with only 2 of these 3 errors, the double die and the repunched mint mark, but without the lamination crack, sold for $47,000 at a heritage auction. That same coin, in a lower grade, had sold for just $3,000 5 years earlier. The market for high-grade error coins from the 1970s has exploded because a new generation of wealthy collectors has entered the field. They are not interested in ancient Roman coins or gold double eagles. They want modern errors, coins that could have passed through their own childhood hands. Coins that tell a story of American industrial chaos. And the 1970D triple error cent is the undisputed king of that niche. The $777,000 figure is not a joke. It is the private sale estimate placed on the finest known example, a coin graded MS65 red by PCGS, which has not been publicly offered in over a decade. If that coin came to auction tomorrow, with today's red-hot market and the power of internet bidding, experts believe it could shatter the $1 million barrier. Let that sink in. A penny. $1 million. Here is where the fear factor kicks in. Every single day, thousands of 1970D pennies are spent at gas stations, coffee shops, and grocery stores. They are thrown into Coinstar machines, rolled up by banks, and sent back to the Federal Reserve to be destroyed. The window of opportunity to find one of these error coins is closing fast. Unlike gold or silver bullion, which can always be melted and recovered, a Lincoln cent in circulation has a finite lifespan. The average penny lasts about 25 years before it becomes too worn or damaged to remain in use. We are already 54 years past 1970. That means the surviving specimens, especially those in collectible condition, are dwindling by the day. And here is the brutal truth. Most of the 1970D pennies you find today will be heavily worn, their details smoothed down by decades of friction. But the triple error coin? The errors are actually easier to spot on a slightly worn coin because the doubling and repunched mint mark become more pronounced as the surrounding metal wears away. So a coin that looks beat up to the untrained, I might be the most valuable penny you will ever hold. That is the irony. That is the twisted beauty of error collecting. Ugly can be beautiful. Worn can be wealthy. Let me reset your attention for a moment. Look at the palm of your hand. Imagine a coin that has been touched by 50 different people, sat in 50 different pockets, and survived 50 years of American history. Now imagine that coin being worth more than your car, your student loans, or your down payment on a house. That is not fantasy. That is the reality of numismatic error hunting. And the 1970D triple error cent is just the tip of the iceberg. There are other modern coins. The 1969 South Double Die Center, the 1972 Double Die Cent, the 1983 Double Die Reverse Cent, that trade for 5, 6, and even 7 figures. But the 1970D holds a special place because it is the last great undiscovered error. Most of the major double dies were found and hoarded within a few years of their release. The 1970D triple error, however, was not even recognized as a distinct variety until 2012, when sharp-eyed collectors submitted a battered example to Annax for grading. The authenticator nearly fell off his chair. Since then, only 3 more have surfaced. That means there are almost certainly more still out there. In old collections, in estate sales, in the literal dirt of abandoned houses, and yes, in your change jar. Now for the call to action. You have 2 choices from this moment forward. You can continue to treat your pocket change as an inconvenience, something to be spent without thought, dumped into jars, and forgotten. Or you could become a conscious observer, a treasure hunter, a person who understands that wealth is not always built through income. Sometimes it is found through awareness. Every time you receive a penny, turn it over. Check the date. Check the mint mark. Spend 10 seconds with a magnifying glass. Yes, you should buy a simple 10-power loop. They cost less than a sandwich. And look for doubling, repunched mint marks, lamination cracks, and off-center strikes. The 1970D triple error is not the only valuable coin out there, but it is the ultimate symbol of hidden wealth. And here is the final twist that will keep you up tonight. The 4 known specimens of the 1970D triple error cent were all found in ordinary circulation. Not in mint sets, not in bankrolls. One was found in a vending machine change return. One was found in a child's piggy bank at a garage sale. One was found by a waitress who used it to give change. And the 4th? It was found by a man who decided to look through his father's coffee can of pennies after watching a video, just like this one. He thought he would find nothing. He found a coin that paid off his mortgage. That could be you, but only if you start looking today. The market is hotter than it has ever been. Auction houses are desperate for fresh error coins. Social media has created bidding wars that drive prices to irrational heights. Right now, right this second, is the golden age of pocket change numismatics. Do not wait until tomorrow. Do not tell yourself that you will check someday. Go through your change. Go through your family's change. Call your parents and ask them to check their old jars. You have nothing to lose and potentially $750,000 to gain. And if you do not find the 1970D triple error, you might find its cousin, the 1970S small date, the 1969S double die, or the 1992 close AM cent. There is a universe of hidden treasure waiting to be discovered by people like you who refuse to overlook the ordinary. Before we end, I want to give you a glimpse of what is coming in our next deep dive. You have heard of the 1970D, but have you heard of the 1943 copper cent? The one that was never supposed to exist? The one that the government tried to recall and destroy? One of those coins sold for $1.7 million just last year. And here is the secret the dealers do not want you to know. A small handful of those copper cents were never recovered. They're still out there, waiting. In the next video, we will show you exactly how to identify one, why the government lied about their existence, and why your grandfather's old coin collection might contain the most valuable error in American history. You do not want to miss that. So subscribe, hit the bell, and start looking at your pennies differently today. The 1970D triple error cent is out there. Maybe it is in your pocket. Maybe it is in your neighbor's pocket. But one thing is certain. The person who finds it next will not be a professional numismatist. It will be an ordinary person who decided to pay attention. Be that person. Start now.